Technical difficulties. Oh, gotta love them, ain't you? Gotta love them. Sorry. Since I've come back from the UK, the laptop has just been a twat. For some inexplicable reason. It just keeps freezing. So I'm going to have to boot that up and start it again. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. These things are sent to try us. Even though I've been keeps freezing for 20 minutes. So I'm going to have to boot that up and start it again. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. These things are sent to try us. Even though I've been keeps freezing for 20 minutes. So I'm going to have to boot that up and start it again. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. These things are sent to try us. Let's lose that. Now, I don't know if the reason I have trouble with this laptop is because I don't use it enough. I don't do anything on this laptop, to be honest, other than a bit of crypto. So whether that's the issue or something else, I don't know. But long and short of it is, hopefully it's going to come to life now after I've restarted it. And it doesn't go into oblivion. Can you see me? Well, I can see me. So let's assume that you guys can as well. Right, yeah. Well, as the title says, I'm back in Russia after returning to the UK. Reason I went back to the UK was my 1-year visa had expired, so I needed to return to renew that, as I'm not a Russian citizen and I don't have what's called temporary residence permit. So that's something that I aspire to get. I'm learning the Russian language. And it's a long, slow, laborious process for a moron like me. So, as I said, the visa was coming to an end, so I had to leave the country, had to return to the UK and apply for the visa, go to the Russian visa centre in London, which we did all in one stint, one journey. Would we do it again like that? I don't know, is the honest answer. It was so tiring. We left at about 5 o'clock in the morning, travelled by train, well, initially taxied to the train station. It's about half an hour, because we went to a different train station rather than the usual one at Napa, and then travelled by train to Sochi. Some of you may have seen the video from Sochi, or videos from Sochi, as I wandered around. If you haven't, go and have a look. It is a beautiful, beautiful city, and yeah, well worth a look if you've never been. Then we got on the plane, went to Istanbul, and then from Istanbul to Gatwick. And we decided that as we were in Gatwick, or landing, in London, that it would make sense to just go straight to the visa centre rather than travel to my hometown on the south coast and then back up to London. So it all sounded like a great idea before we left, but I can tell you by the time we got to London, with no sleep, we hadn't had any sleep at all, we were ruined. And then getting a train up to Victoria from Gatwick, and then a cab to the visa centre, and then a cab back from the visa centre. Getting to Eastbourne, I think, sometime in the afternoon of the following day. So yeah, about 36 hours in total of travelling without stopping. Other than in Istanbul airport, we didn't really plan it too well. Made a bit of a hash of that. Didn't think about 10 hours in Istanbul airport, which turned out to be 11 hours because the flight was delayed. Yeah, we by the time we were back in the south coast, we were absolutely slaughtered, ruined. But you know, we got the visa process underway, and here I am. So always a nerve-wracking thing, I think, applying for the visa, even though everybody says, you know, I've got no problem, and you know, why wouldn't they give me a visa, etc., etc. But you still wonder, don't you? You still sort of hope and fingers crossed. But Russian efficiency is legendary, and yeah, it arrived exactly when they said it would. I got a text message, I got email messages to say where the process was, where the visa was in that. The visa centre, I cannot say enough good things about them. The lady there is phenomenal. You know, she's worth her weight in gold. She's absolutely efficient. You know, there's no quarters given, so you know, there's no shortcuts or anything like that. And if you haven't filled out the form correctly, she'll tell you straight away, and you need to go and sort it out. You know, there's none of this Tipex in or anything. It's no, you go and do it again, and you reprint it, and you can do all of that in the visa centre. They've got a computer there. You just log in with your number and change it all there. But very, very efficient. You know, she literally dealt with my application straight away, and 2 hours later it was with the Russian embassy. So, you know, super efficient. As I understand, the visa goes to the Russian embassy in the UK first. The application is perused by them. Then it goes to Moscow, and then it comes bouncing back to the British embassy, or Russian embassy in Britain, and then back to the visa centre, and then by courier back to me, if that's your choice, which it was. So yeah, all of that process happened, and we got it on the 23rd of May. So we booked flights for the 26th of May, and obviously on the 22nd of May, I'm sitting there going, I hope the visa turns up, because I've got to be honest, I wanted to come back. I really wanted to come back here, and if you haven't been to Russia, you won't understand that. And I've been called lots of things, you know. There's a lot of comments that you guys won't see because they're filtered, and I have to go through them. Well, I don't have to, I just delete them, but you know, go through them. And real childish playground sort of stuff, you know. I'm a traitor to my country, and if I love Russia so much, I should stay there. Hello. Yeah, just rubbish, you know. How can I be a traitor to my country? What, for changing my geography? Moron. You know, so just crap, you know, just rubbish. I did cover that off, I think, in my last live when I was in the UK a little bit. I just wanted to, you know, point that out again. Yeah, moving on from that, you know, here I am, I'm back. And very, very glad to be back, I've got to be honest. It was amazing going home and seeing my family and friends, and heartbreaking leaving them again. You know, my kids are the absolute world to me, you know, and you know, some people might question that, you know, why have I moved to Russia to leave them? I haven't left my children, not in my mind. That was never what it was about. The choice for me to come to Russia was multifaceted, and it wasn't just based on my own selfish ideas. There were lots of other people and factors to consider when I made this choice, and it wasn't just about me. It was, you know, part of that obviously it was, you know, it was you know, getting a better life for myself. But that was a long way down the list. You know, it was more important for my wife, my stepdaughter, for my children back in the UK, because they're of an age where they need to stand on their own 2 feet. And if Dad's always around to pick up the pieces or you know, fix things, then you know, it's a bit like having staff. If you always give them the answer when they come to you, they're always going to just come to you. They're never going to learn to do anything themselves. And that was one of the things that I learned when I was in the automotive industry. If staff come to you, give them the answers for the first month or so, and then after that, just sort of throw it back at them and say, hey, what would you do? You know, have a look at it. Where do you think you are? Or bounce them off for 5 minutes and say, go and spend 5 minutes more on it. There was always, you know, something to make them think. And I think that's very true of children. If you're always giving them the answers, then they're never going to think. And I was very keen to let my children be children. I didn't want them to grow up too fast, because you're a long time as an adult, you're a long time working or making your way through life, depending on how you want to do it. And I think childhood ends far too quickly for most kids nowadays. So I was very keen for them to be kids, regardless. But they're no longer children. They're not kids anymore. You know, they're their own people. They've got their own relationships going on, which is wonderful for me. You know, hi to both of the other halves. You're amazing for my son. You're amazing for my daughter. I really appreciate that. Everything that you do, and it makes my life easier here. So yeah, that's, you know, that was a hard one to come away from. It was hard to leave my friends. I've got a couple of really good friends, and yeah, it was, you know, it was challenging as well. So yeah, but like I say, visa came through. Here I am back in Russia. I'm hoping that you guys have got a lot of questions. You want to know what I think and feel. I've got some stuff that I'm going to go through. So we'll start with cost, prices. Geez. Yeah, that was a shock. So we got to Gatwick, jumped on the train. I didn't even see the cost, because it was just a tap of the card and jump on the train to Victoria. But going from Victoria to the visa centre is usually for us about half an hour walk. It's not that far, but we jumped in a cab because we just wanted to get there. So that was 31 quid, 31 pounds. And then we got a cab back because we were just dead. You know, we just wanted to get back, you know, and get finished on the journey, and that was 33 pounds. Don't know, must have gone a different route. Then went to Victoria for 2 single tickets to the south coast, and that was 84 pounds. And to put that in perspective, the journey from Victoria to the south coast was about 1 hour and 30 minutes, and cost of 84 pounds one way for both of us. In comparison, the journey from Anapa to Sochi is about 5.5 hours. It's over 300 kilometres, and cost about 30 quid for both of us, 30 pounds. So a third of the price for 4 times the distance. Yeah, there's just one comparison. Yeah, so trains, taxis, they were the first things that hit us cost-wise in the UK. And obviously, you know, I've only been out of the UK a year, so I know what the costs are, but you kind of get used to cost in Russia. So when you do go back, even though you're expecting it, it still comes as a shock. You know, it still hits you. The next thing that hit me again, I covered it probably a bit in a live stream before, and I've covered it in videos before, I think, was just how filthy dirty the place is. It's got worse, which I didn't really think was possible, but it has. So it was just really dirty, rubbish everywhere. In London, lots of homeless people everywhere, beggars everywhere, drunks everywhere, drug addicts. You could smell drugs everywhere. Wherever you walked, there was somebody walking past you smoking weed. It was just, I think if you're a tourist and you've never been to London, you're going to love it. You're going to go to London, you're going to look at go to all the sites, and you're going to find it, an amazing experience. But if you've been a lot of times and you live in the UK, it's quite sad to see it now and the decline that has happened. But it is what it is, I guess. So yeah, so that was the first couple of things really, and then we got on the train and tootled off down to the south coast. Got met at the train station by a good friend of mine who kindly loaned me transport for our stay, which was amazing. Yeah, that was, without that, it would really have been a chore for sure. So I really want to thank him for that. So thanks, mate. Appreciate that. Yeah, obviously we got to Eastbourne, got picked up, dropped the wife off where we were staying, and then I still had to go out and pick the van up. So by the time I got the van and then back, yeah, I just brain off. And then I was hoping to go to sleep, but I had Find iPhone on and I saw where my kids were. My daughter was at work and my son was at the gym, so I thought, well, I've got to go down there. So I drove down to the gym, sneaked in through the front door, saw the gym owner, and she sort of said, look, this is a bit of a strange one, but my son's in here lifting. I haven't seen him for a year, been out of the country. Is it all right if I... And he was like, yeah, come in, it'll be great. So I sort of sneaked in, and I could see my son. He was sat on the ground, but facing towards me, doing his socks up. He wasn't looking up. And I sort of had all these ideas of what I was going to do. I was going to walk up behind him. I was going to do all of this. But to be honest, that all went out the window. My son was 10 feet away from me. So that all went out the window. So I couldn't wait. I just walked straight in, and he was sat on the ground with his best mate. And I just stood over him, and I said, make sure you do them up tight, mate. And yeah, it was cool. He just sort of looked up and was, oh, what the fuck, what the hell? Which was cool. So yeah, so that was literally our first day, getting back. I went and saw my daughter as well. We did a similar sort of thing with her. We were surprised, but I think I covered that off in the live from the UK. So I don't want to dwell on that too much. But that was it. During the time in the UK, we sorted out a lot of stuff that we'd left behind. Saw friends, saw family. Went and ate all the things that I thought I'd missed. Mainly takeaways, Chinese takeaways, Indian takeaways, kebabs. Kebab was a stable thing for me. It's something that I used to go to quite regularly. But after living in Russia and eating fresh, really nice, fresh cooked meat, eating a kebab was, not nice. I tried it 2 or 3 times just to make sure, but yeah, no, it wasn't good. So I didn't miss that at all. The one thing I did miss, and some of you will know about this from my Telegram channel, was Marmite. And yes, I did miss that. And yes, I did bring some back. So I've got a couple of jars safely tucked away, which I'm working my way through at the moment. Aside from that, there was nothing in the UK that I thought, oh, thank God. Thank God I've come back to this, or I've missed this, or there just wasn't anything. Whether it's because I've lived there all my life, or whether it's just purely the fact that where I live now is just better, I don't really know. I'm going to leave that for you guys to sort of make your own minds up on that. I don't really know. But my gut feeling is that just where I live now is a lot better. and I enjoy life a lot more here, definitely. Today we've been out around the fruit trees. Again, if you're on my Telegram channel, you probably saw the little video I did very briefly. Our peach tree's nearly falling over with the amount of fruit that's on it. No subtitles, no viewers. Okay, well, I don't have any control over subtitles. So it's a live stream. So unless you watch it in something like Yandex browser, which will do a voiceover for you, nothing I can do. Welcome to YouTube. YouTube does not put subtitles onto a live stream. If you click on the top dot, the three dots in the top right of your screen, you can turn on subtitles, but that's down to YouTube. No control over it, same as anybody else. So no subtitles, no viewers. Sorry, can't help that. Yeah, so like I say, if you saw the video on Telegram, you'll see the peach trees just falling over, literally. So much fruit on it. And the cherries, we've been out there for about an hour and a half this afternoon, clearing the tree off. It's just, we've got 3 massive bowlfuls of cherries, so they should last a while, week or two. So that's one of the nice things about being here, just being able to walk out into your garden and just eat lovely black cherries straight off the tree. It's, you know, it's a simple thing, but it's just lovely. It's just really nice. You know where they come from. They've just grown in your garden. They're not covered in pesticides, and they're not artificially ripened or anything at all. They're just fresh and natural as can be in the corner of the garden. So yeah, you can't beat Russia for that kind of thing. I don't think, well, you probably can, but certainly in the comparison to the UK, you know, stuff grows out here and it's amazing. So that was nice. Got the pool ready. It's obviously been covered up for a month, so cleaned off the cover, got the pool prepped, did all the chemical balance, and yesterday we went to Novorossiysk, which is the next town along from us, literally just for shopping. We didn't get a chance to go down to the harbour. It was just one of those days we were going to be too busy. I was hoping to do a bit of filming, but it's just too busy. So we picked up a load of salt for the pool, because as I've said before, we've got a saltwater swimming pool. So that needed refreshing, a bit of salt adding to it. And went to a napper, but again, just didn't have a chance to do anything, which is a shame, because at the moment there are quite a few dolphins on our coastline, on our beach, and there's quite a few videos from the locals with the dolphins literally in 8-10 inches of water, right literally on the shore, swimming around the people, catching the fish, and you know, probably just playing as well. And probably jellyfish as well. I think there's probably jellyfish season starting. So that's cool, you know, and I want to get down there and see if I can get that on camera, see if I can get that videoed. So yeah, apart from that, we've just been tidying up, clearing up, unpacking. The wife's exhausted, she's been cleaning. But one of the things that did happen yesterday for us, which is a bit of a milestone, is that we are now on mains gas. So all of the connections were made, the meter's installed, the gas boiler is installed, and it's all been signed off and switched on. So no more gas bottle for cooking. That's all we used it for anyway, but yeah, it's handy because it's nearly run out, so it saves us having to get a refill. But we are now on mains gas. And the hob certainly works a lot better on mains gas than it did on the bottle. It's a lot more adjustable. The jets have been changed, and although I changed the jets for the bottle, it's still a lot better now. So that's cool. That's one of the milestones for us. And the other thing is the mains water. Everything is ready to be switched on. As some of you may know, we're on a well here. So we've got a borehole in the front garden. Goes down about 15-16 metres. Into the water table, and we just get natural fresh water pumped straight into the house from that. You can drink it straight out of the ground. It's lovely, but we chose to filter it as well, so it runs through a custom built filtration system, which I will do a video on at some point, just for people that are interested. And then it goes into a drinking water 5 filter filtration system under the sink, and then from there I've got another filter that goes into the fridge, so we get ice cold fridge water out as well, which is lovely, really nice. So yeah, mains water is the next thing, the next couple of days, and then we'll have that, and then we're all rocking and rolling, we're all done. Which, yeah, you know, things that you take for granted, but things that we've not had for a while, well, since we've been in this house. So we moved in December, and we've been on a gas bottle for the cooking, and on the well for the water since then. Hasn't been an issue, but it's just nice not to have to think about that now. Let me just have, before the screen disappears, let me just have a quick catch up. Oleg, hi guys. Hi Oleg, how you doing? Welcome back to Napa, thank you. How was the trip to the UK? Hopefully I've answered that. It like I say, it was nice. It was nice to see friends and family. We had good weather, which, you know, we had a few days that were rubbish, but that's the UK, it's standard. But we did have good weather, I would say. I haven't missed the driving, and I certainly haven't missed the traffic. Traffic was unbelievable, absolute nightmare. And roadworks, well, I like the Russian version of roadworks, to be honest. Common sense, you know. Yeah, in the UK, it's just nonsense. And again, I covered that in a previous live stream, so I don't want to bang on too much about it. But it's just rubbish. It's nonsense. You know, they make a footpath, or if they're repairing a footpath, then they make a temporary footpath, go out into the road and put traffic lights on and stop the traffic. Because if anybody wanted to use the footpath, then, you know, they'd have to use this one, and you'd have to stop the traffic for it. Why they can't just cross the road and use the footpath on the other side of the road, don't know. But there was a couple of instances like that where there were miles and miles of queues over a long weekend. Motorists were just absolutely gridlocked. Must be putting an hour and a half on people's journeys, all for the sake of a 2 metre by 2 metre patch in a footpath. It just wouldn't happen here. It just wouldn't happen here. For a start, it's not dug up for 2 weeks. It'll be done in hours. And second, they exercise common sense. So, you know, they'll just put a 20-ton lorry in the way. So if you're stupid enough to not realise that you need to drive round some roadworks and you drive into the lorry, your problem. But yeah, they do that, and they, you know, protect the people like that, and everybody just carries on about their business. You do get traffic lights at roadworks, but they're few and far between, and they're generally on very narrow roads where there isn't really a lot of choice. But certainly the Russian way is far more efficient, much better, and I much prefer it. Apart from that, really, yeah, it was how I left it, apart from grubbier. The roads were definitely a lot worse. Definitely a lot worse. And it's been very noticeable coming back here and getting the car out and going from the first drive. I drove on the right side, which was a bonus. I made one slight error whilst I was in the UK on the wrong side. But I've been fine since I've been back in Russia. But the roads here are so much better now than the UK, which, again, I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, moving on. Nelly, greetings from the Mount region. Hi, Nelly. St. Petersburg, yes. Now we got some Russian. Privyet. That's as far as I can read. But I'll read it back afterwards, because you can replay this with the comments on if you're really sad and you want to watch it. I do, because when people write to me in Russian, I want to see what they've written, see if they need to be deleted. Russian efficiency is legendary. Are you having a laugh? That was tongue-in-cheek, surely. I I get what you're saying, but in the UK, the visa centre is absolutely on it. Really, really efficient. I mean, you know, German-like efficiency. Really good, really good. Very, very good setup. Very well run. And again, I want to shout out to the visa centre. She's, you know, the lady we see. I can't remember her name, I'm afraid, but she's wonderful. Really, really efficient. Doesn't take any nonsense, but you don't give her any nonsense. You know, you give her your application, and if there's an error in it, she just straight away. But really efficient, and it literally is, you know, to the letter. And when they say you're going to get a text, you get a text. When you get an email, you get an email. And when they say you're getting the visa back, you get the visa back. So really good. I get what you're saying about efficiency. Here, certainly when we have to go and register, which I need to do actually, probably tomorrow. It's a bit of a weird system. You go and wait with a lot of other people, and you ask people who's next in line, and it's not like take a number and sit down and wait for your name to be called. You just sort of all rely on each other, who got here last, and then you follow that person. There's a lot of bureaucracy, definitely, but Russia is a stickler for the law, in the fact that they do, compared to the UK, they do stuff here that you don't have in the UK. If you go and buy something in the UK, you just buy it and you pay for it, you get a receipt for your money. Here, you'll actually get an agreement to say you've bought something, as I've said before, like my local steel place where we buy fence panels and stuff like that, for example. We'll actually get a 3-page agreement from them, even though we're paying cash for the stuff. It's you know, everything's got an agreement. You get workmen around, it's an agreement. So there is a lot of inefficiency in that regard, I suppose, but there's a reason for it. It's a safeguarding, I guess. More Russian. Sorry, I can't read it. Hi Chris, glad you're back. I do envy you. Envy me being here, definitely. Don't envy me being in the UK. But yeah, it is good to be back. You know, like I say, the tug from the kids and the friends, and my mum. Yeah, that's challenging. But getting back here to our life here, it's lovely. You know, if you park those things to one side, just the actual living, it's just so much better here. It just is. You know, I'm sorry. You know, if you're in the UK, you need to understand that. You just need to open your eyes a little bit, and think outside the box and do a bit of research and turn off your TV, because Russia is nothing like we're told in the West. Absolutely nothing like. And if you're Russian, please open your eyes, because if you think the UK is a lot better than here, you need to give your head a wobble. You really do. It's not, and I understand there's a lot of history, and I understand there's a lot of people that, you know, the grass is greener. It's greener as a tourist for a week or 2 weeks. It might look fantastic, but if you go and live there, and Russians have got this hang up about the costs and the money, and you get paid so much more in the UK, and they just seem to skip over the fact that everything costs so much more, and it's not proportionate either. It's not. It just isn't. You know, yes, wages are low in Russia. Absolutely, I'm not going to deny that. And in comparison, wages are much higher in the UK. But also, in comparison, the cost of living in the UK is much higher. It is not comparable to the salary, you know, country to country. It's completely different. And, you know, I've seen comments in a previous live where people say, oh, I'd love to work there for £1,000 a month and, you know, be a janitor. Somebody said, I'd love to be a janitor at the town hall or somewhere, have £1,000 a month. I'm sorry, £1,000 a month won't pay your rent. So I don't know, you know, what you think you're going to do with £1,000 a month. You know, £1,000 a month, you would be able to rent probably one room in a house, and eat very basic, and not really have a life. So you know, nobody really survives on basic jobs. You've got to be earning proper money really to have any kind of life. We went to London, me and my son and two of my friends, to my favourite steak place. And again, if you're in my Telegram group, you already know this. And I think the bill was about 560 quid, £560. So what's that? 56, roughly 60,000 rubles, a bit more for a meal. So is it the norm? No, probably is to most Londoners. In fact, I do know people that eat in Goodman's 2 or 3 times a week. And it is completely different. And I understand, of course, in Moscow that things are expensive. But even when you come out of London, the costs for things is biblical. It's just absolute insanity. And yeah, it's not good. It's not good. Hello from US Las Vegas. Blimey. Never been. Been close. Friends used to go regularly, and they stayed on UK time when it went to Vegas, because I think it's probably one of the few places in the world that's 24/7, and the only difference is whether it's dark outside. And if you're in the casinos and the clubs, it doesn't matter. So yeah, they used to stay on UK time, and they never changed the clock. So it worked for them, and it meant they didn't get jet lag, which is an interesting approach. But I think they were probably sleeping by the pool during the day, and out all night. So you have some mic issues. It looks like it's over amplified. Again, I'm using the same setup that I always do. I'm not doing anything different. So I don't really know what that can be. It's just on my phone. So apologies for that. I'll watch it back and see if there is something. I have got some plug-in mics with windsocks on them, but I can't see that they're going to make a lot of difference to a telephone, to be honest. My husband and I are in the process of planning our trip to Russia, Sochi especially. Want to look for land to build a house of our own. So Sochi is quite expensive. It is really pretty. It's really beautiful. I don't know about living there. We were there a couple of hours. You know, it was literally a stopover for us. And on the way back, we literally walked out of the airport and got into a cab. So we didn't have a chance to look around at all. But what I did see of Sochi, yeah, very pretty, very clean, very tidy, very had a nice vibe about it. You know, it was sort of young and hip, which I'm not. But there was a nice vibe. Lots of young people walking around, very well dressed. Lots of restaurants, that kind of thing. Nice marina down there. Certainly somewhere where you could go and spend a few quid if you wanted to. But yeah, building a house. If you're looking to build land or to build a house, a friend of mine's got a channel, Sam's Russian Adventures. Have a look. He started building a house about 4 years ago. So he's a veteran. There's lots of people that have done it since then, and lots of people that are starting to do it now. Yeah, he actually started his house about 4 years ago, whereas we started ours about 3 years ago. 2021 we started building ours. So have a look at Sam's, have a look at some of my videos. You can see our house in the build, and if you've got any questions, then join the Telegram group and ping them to me, and if I can help I will. Hello comrade, how's Mother Russia? Hi Sailor. Oh mate, yeah, it's lovely. It's just great to be back. It's great to be back to the sensible prices. It's great to be back to lovely weather. I was swimming this afternoon in the pool. It's nice, we've already seen our friends. I've been eating a load of cherries, so I'm sure that'll keep me busy tonight. Yeah, no, it's lovely, yeah, mate. It just is, you know. We haven't really gone anywhere other than yesterday we went to Novorossiysk and Anapa, but we didn't do anything, we just went shopping and then came back to the house. But that's the difference, I think, for me in the UK, and for a lot of people, the house that you have to live in isn't somewhere that you necessarily can spend time in. You know, you end up with a small garden or no garden at all. I know a few people have got no garden. So you rattle around in the house for a bit and then you end up going out all the time. You know, you're either going out in the evening for meals out, or you're off out for a trip somewhere or something. Whereas here we've got a decent sized garden, front and back. We've got our own pool, we're starting work on the sauna. And the idea is that the house is somewhere that we want to spend time. So that's the biggest difference, I think, from being in the UK for us, is that we're quite happy to be at home. We don't need to be going out and exploring. That said, yeah, Russia's a huge, huge country and there's so much to see. And over the coming years, I'm sure I will see a lot more of it and bring a lot more to this channel. I do want to get started on some projects, but I need to catch up with everything that we've got going on around us, and get rested fully, because we've lost a couple of days of sleep really. So yeah, we need to catch up. Where are we? Couldn't agree more on a new luxury site in Ascot, 900 grand for a 2-bed. I'm sorry, it looks like glorified. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, John. I mean, out here, that money, you wouldn't believe what it would buy you. It is insane. Yeah, the cost of housing in the UK is just mental. It's just how anybody's supposed to afford it. Well, you're not. That's the simple answer. You're not supposed to afford it, are you? They don't make any money off the people that buy houses. They only make money off the people that mortgage them. You know, and houses is a banking thing, isn't it? It was invented by bankers. Yeah, we'll get you onto a mortgage. Yeah. So, yeah, that's another good reason to move out here. Anything changed in there since you last time you visited Russia? So we've been gone about a month. Obviously the season has moved forward in regards to the local produce. So when we left, strawberries were just starting to come out, but they were a little bit new, so they weren't sweet. And we've come back and they're just finishing. So one of the first things we did was rush off out and buy 5.5 kilos of strawberries. Yeah. And I think they cost us about £12 for 5.5 kilos. But they're coming to the end now, the strawberry season. And that's certainly one thing that I'm gutted we missed, because the strawberries out here are lovely. If you look at my profile pic, you'll see me holding a strawberry. You know, some of them are huge and they're just so lovely. But we're into the cherries now. So cherries, and next will be peaches and plums and various other things. So the season's moved on. That's changed. The weather's obviously changed, which is great. We're definitely into summer now. We haven't really been anywhere, and I haven't seen any news to sort of understand anything big changing other than what's going on currently over there, which I won't be talking about. If you want to find out about stuff like that, about what's going on with Russia and Ukraine, there are lots of channels. There's a good channel I would recommend. It's called The Duran, which is Alexander Mercouris and Alex Christoforou. They both give very, very good analysis, and they've both got their own channels on their own names as well. So they both give very good analysis of day-to-day events there, and in a non-biased way. So I would recommend that if you want to get an idea of what's going on. Aside from that, yeah, I think it's business as normal here, to be honest. Yeah, apart from, like I say, the dolphins down on the beach. I do want to go and see that, because that must be cool, being able to walk out into the sea and have dolphins swimming around you. That must be pretty cool. So yeah, I want to go and catch that. But apart from that, no, it's business as usual. Nice life, nice lifestyle, nice people, nice food, nice weather. What's there to say? Yes, I like him and I do watch his channel. Thank you so much. You're welcome, Michelle. Like I say, join the Telegram channel if there's anything you want to know. If I don't know the answer, I'll try and find out for you. But yeah, don't be scared to ask a question. It's not a problem. Yeah, yes, Linda. It is. Absolutely, it is. And yeah, my heart's here, definitely. Good voice frequency insulator for mic is possible to make from foam clean. Yeah, again, I'm using my telephone, so I don't know why the mic is being an issue, unless it's picking up from the laptop as well, which it shouldn't do. It never has before. Don't know. Not getting notifications anymore. Curious. So it's like, yeah. I mean, I scheduled this live yesterday, pushed it onto my Telegram channel, but I've got to be honest, I've struggled to find it myself to actually go live tonight. I couldn't find my own live stream. What the hell, even on my own channel I couldn't find it. Don't know. Maybe censorship, maybe not. I don't know. Who knows? You're following Sam? Yeah, he's a good guy. He's very knowledgeable, and he's been in this country a long time. So he's run business here. He's building, he's built houses here. He's bought houses. He's sold houses. So he's done it all before anybody else, really. Well, not before anybody else, but before most of the latest crop of YouTubers, myself included. There's a few out there that are sort of treading the boards and going down the same path like it's something new, but they're just sort of regurgitating what Sam's already done. So yeah, it's a good source of info, and you can go back through his back catalogue of videos and see what else. And also, he's very amicable, so if you've got any questions you can ask him as well. He knows a lot more than I do. And he speaks very good Russian as well. So we're very interested in what the Russians feel that reside in the Black Sea area. Totally agree about the Duran with Alex and Alexander. What the Russians feel. Be wrong of me to sort of not comment on that, but to sort of tell you what they feel, because clearly I'm not Russian. I can tell you about the interactions that I've had with the Russians in this area, some of which are friends, some are in the local shops, and they all seem to be, getting on with daily life, and everybody I've come across has been lovely. It's been really nice, very helpful. Yeah, the guy that did the developing of the inside of the house, the main contractor, he's actually not pestering us, but he's actually pushed us to, get on with the sauna, and we've sort of said, well, we've got to see where the money is, etc. And he's like, F the money, don't care about the money. You need the sauna for the winter. Let's get the sauna sorted. You'll have it for the winter. Pay me next year. I kid you not. I don't know if that's normal where any of you guys come from. I'll tell you, it's not normal in the UK. People want their money up front, let alone do the job and pay me next year. So yeah, Alexei is, yeah, and you know, just a lovely guy, a lovely human being, very, very generous, very nice. Can't do enough for you. Super helpful. But yeah, I mean, it is just a different attitude out here. The Russians do not care about rubbish, you know, about little things like we do, especially in the UK. You know, we get completely hung up over the most ridiculous little things. You know, our saying mountain out of a molehill, and that's very, very true of people in the UK. We do get out of our tree about rubbish, and they just don't here, not at all. And that's why there isn't any road rage, because they've just got better things to do. If a car cuts in front of you or something, so what? You know, whereas in the UK, oh my God, well, people have been murdered. Whilst I was in the UK, actually, somebody was stabbed in a hospital car park because he pulled up and another car pulled in or something, and they were in the way. One bloke bibbed his horn, and the other bloke got out and stabbed him in the hospital car park. I mean, it's just, yeah, just insanity, absolute insanity. So yeah, all I can say is what I always say. Everybody I've spoken to here has been lovely. It's been, you know, it's been very humbling coming here, and certainly not what you would expect, given how the West and Western people would react to Russians going there. Let's face it, everybody's a hero. Strawberries cost €4.80 for 500 grams in Austria. Ouch. Yeah. I don't know what they are in the UK. I didn't bother to go shopping for strawberries. Yeah. What English people think about Russia and Russians? So, I'll tell you one thing I did make a special journey to, and this is the closest that I'm going to get to politics. There is a town very near to me in southeast called Robertsbridge. And when the SMO started, every single house in the high street had a Ukrainian flag hanging out the window. It literally, you know, 200 houses or whatever, all the little buildings, they all had flags flying, every single one. Far more than I've seen anywhere else. So I made a special point of going back there, and I actually did a video, which is really boring, which is why I haven't posted it. But I made a point of going back there just to see. And there wasn't a single flag. No, there was one ragged, very weather-worn flag propped up in a doorway. But every single other Ukrainian flag had been removed. What people think about Russia and Russians in the UK is going to be a very mixed bag, based on, from one end of the scale, whether they're an idiot, because every country has idiots, so you've really got to discount them, because, you know, brain dead people are brain dead people. But it really depends on whether they're lazy or whether they can be bothered to go and do some research and look up some facts, rather than just turning on the news at 6 o'clock, listening for 10 minutes and thinking they know world events and what's going on. So it's really a mixed bag with English people. The ones that have taken the time to actually think, a lot of this doesn't sound right, so I'm going to actually go and look for myself, I think are very, very intrigued. Especially, you know, I got asked by a lot of people, what's it like, why, how, what, you know, especially when I'm showing them the house that I live in, and the cost and everything. You know, I've opened a lot of people's eyes, I think. But there's a lot of people that are just blinkered, just literally blinkered. And it's, you know, I think I've started this off incorrectly, because I said it's thick people, and I'm instantly going to correct myself, because I know that there's a couple of very, very intelligent people that just do this, literally have no concept of real Russia. and what it is now and what's going on and why it's going on. They've just completely been brainwashed by the Western media and the Western government and the one side of an argument, kind of approach, which baffles me. It really does, baffles me. And these are intelligent people, clearly intelligent people, but just are completely brainwashed from one side. And I just don't get that. And, I've had people throw an argument in my face. Well, I've been to Russia. Okay, back then, not now. Russia's a different place now. And again, where did you go? Have you been all over Russia? You can go to Russia and find some places that are not good, I'm sure. Same as you can in any country. So, people will believe what they want to believe at the end of the day. And if it's convenient and easy to go along with the mainstream media and the narrative, and some, it might be because of the working environment. It might be that that's just, the way they see the world through their work eyes. And some people just don't want to believe that their government and their media lie to them. I don't think anybody does. And until you actually have an open mind and do some research of your own, you're always going to be led by other people, and that's just not for me. I've never been that. I've always wanted to find out myself. And it's when somebody comes up to you, if you start a new job, for example, and somebody comes up to you and says, oh, watch out for so and so and watch out for him, you kind of take that on board, but you won't make if you're sensible, you won't make a decision about that. I certainly wouldn't. I'd always see what that person's like, how they treated me, how they treated other people. I wouldn't make a judgment just based on what somebody's said. But most English people do that. They make a judgment based on what the BBC says, or some other channel, Sky News, CNN, whatever. And they just take it as absolute truth rather than going and looking. Through this last 2.5 years, I have seen so much absolute rubbish that has been said about Russia. And I mean provable rubbish, so much of it, that you'd have to be really stupid to just still go down the path of believing everything you're told without question, because you have to look at the lies that you've been told already, that's provable and that has been proved and that has been admitted, and understand that potentially what you're being told now is in 6 months. As I say, difference between the truth and the conspiracy theory is 6 months, and that's very much true in what's going on at the moment. And I just wish people would just open their eyes a little bit and get both sides of the story. But unfortunately, the UK is it's very isolated. It's an island, and it's institutional. You sit and watch the news. The internet is making a big change to that for sure, but it's going to be a long time. It's not going to happen overnight, and people will believe what they want to believe a lot of the time. So what can you do? All you can do is live your life, be happy, and not jump onto a channel and start pointing out specifics. Yeah, I'm sure. Sorry, Serge. I'm sure subtitles have gone over this before. I don't have any control over subtitles, mate. Subtitles are only available, as I understand, on the replay of this. So if you watch it back after I've finished, then subtitles become available. Or if you watch it through, if you're in Russia and you watch it through Yandex browser, apparently there's subtitles. But YouTube dictates subtitles, not me. Yeah, so as regards English people and Russians, it's a mixed bag. It's a lot more, I think, questioning now. People have started to realise after 2.5 years of stuff, and certainly seen that a lot of it is just lies, that's now started to make them question, which is why the narrative has shifted. But you've still got Western governments and Western leaders hell-bent on demonising Russia and Russians. And I said this a while ago, you know, be prepared to be told that Russians are monsters. Just prepare yourself for it. It's complete crap, but prepare yourself for it. So, yeah. I noticed for certain channels like yours are being shadow banned. Yeah. Yeah. Why? What am I saying? What have I said? I don't think I'm happy to stand by anything that I've said in any video, because I don't think I've said anything that's propaganda. I've told the truth. I've told the truth about daily life in Russia, how I see it, and it is, as I always say, it's how I see it based on where I live in my region. Is it true across Russia? Don't know. Might be. But I can't say that. So it is just how I see it. So, you know, why should I be shadow banned? You know, really, that should tell you everything. If me and channels like me are shadow banned, that really should tell you everything. Right, Linda, Russia and its people are now like what Canadians used to be in the 70s and 80s, mild-mannered and more interested in the well-being of the country. Also, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, Russians certainly, they're far more educated about world events than us in the West. Definitely. I can't speak of Americans, but certainly for the UK, I would say that most Russians would absolutely put UK residents to shame when it comes to global politics. They are very, very, very well informed, and they go out of their way to be informed. So then, you know, their knowledge of history around the world and what's happening right now around the world far exceeds anything of most. Sorry, not anything, but far exceeds most people in the UK. If you do a direct comparison, Russians are far more informed, and they do care about their country. Absolutely, they do, and that's something that it's not prevalent in the UK anymore. You know, this latest nonsense that they've got talking about conscription. Who are they going to conscript? Who's going to, you know, there was a poll recently and it's something like 25% of the population was in favour of it. Oh yeah, well, it's easy to be in favour of something if you haven't got to go and do it, or it's not going to have an impact on you. But unfortunately, those people are in favour of a dream, of not a reality. And if they actually knew the reality, they probably wouldn't be in favour of it. Greetings from Krimsk. Sorry, Serge. I hope that's right. Yeah, subtitles are already covered. Any issues with border crossing back to Russia? No, none, zero. I was expecting issues. I was expecting issues going into the UK, to be fair, which I didn't have any. Just walked straight through. Why I was expecting, I don't know. I was just thinking, well, I've been out of the country for a year. You know, my passport's got a visa stamp in it of Russia. You know, I wouldn't have been surprised if they pulled me at the border. Where have you been? What you've been doing? But I didn't have any issues, so that was all right. But I was expecting issues coming back into Russia. Definitely, you know, a UK man coming to Russia, especially this part of Russia, given the current situation, it is probably going to flag up. But I was at I think the only reason it took longer to process me through the border than my wife is because they had to fill out an immigration form, which took probably 5 minutes. So I literally stood there for 5 minutes while the lady did it and stamped it and said thank you and goodbye. So no issues at all, none. Hi-Fi Flux, nice to see you. Yeah, I can't see you, but nice to see the 8 letters of your name on the screen. When lies are being told, the truth becomes an enemy. Yeah, but as I say, the truth will out. The truth will always win out. It will take time, but it will always come out. Just look at everything that's happened over the last 20, 30, 40 years. You know, all the lies and deceit that has been pumped out by media and government, and it's all come out. But still people follow it, still people believe it. You know, when are people going to wake up and realise that the governments aren't your friends? They're not going to ever do anything to help you. They're not there for you. They're going to tell you they are, so they want your vote. And again, that's a load of rubbish anyway. Let's face it, the voting process is just an illusion to make you think you've got choice. You haven't. But it's just a, you know, a form of control. But still people believe what we're told. Yeah, I don't know why. If people watch TV, they don't know what is going on in the world. You have to research it to find out. Yeah, 100%, absolutely. I definitely echo those comments. If you think the news is coming out of your TV, then you are delusional. You really do. You know, you need to go on the internet, and you've got to go looking. And you can't just go to YouTube and listen to a YouTuber like me. You've got to go and find it from 10, 15, 20, 30 different places and compile it all together. And what you'll find is certain things will stand out because they're said over and over again by clever people and far more intelligent people than me. And you can piece it together. If you've got a brain, you can work out what's going on. But you need to go and research it. Take the knee, Starmer. Yeah, I mean, good luck, UK. Starmer's going to be the next Prime Minister, isn't he? There's no question about that. But he's another WEF puppet, you know. Sunak's a WEF puppet, you know, World Economic Forum. And Starmer's even worse. Sunak, yeah, he's a limp lettuce and scared of his own shadow. Wouldn't understand what living in the real world meant. But Starmer is, yeah. He ain't going to be good. You're going to have the same policies, just driven through a lot harder and a lot faster. So I don't see things improving, only getting a lot worse, until, you know, people wake up and do something about all this and get rid of these corrupt politicians. Will it ever happen? Thank you, Linda. Do I know George Galloway? I know of him. I don't know him. No, we're not drinking partners. Yeah, thank you, Linda. That, as I've said many times, is the purpose of this channel. It is not to be propaganda. It's not to talk about the current situation in Ukraine. I have my own thoughts. I will happily have a face-to-face discussion with anybody about that. I've done an awful lot of research on what's going on over there, but it's not something that this channel is about. So yeah, it's not going to be on here, I'm afraid. But the purpose of this channel is just to show people that Russia isn't what they probably think it is, and show them a side of Russia that they probably haven't seen, just like I hadn't, you know. And that was the main driver for me, you know, was coming here and just having my world turned upside down and my mind blown. And that was, you know, that was the main driver for doing this channel. You know, I'm long in the tooth, and the last thing I expected to be was a YouTuber. But I just feel that nobody can make a decision without having all of the information and all of the facts, regardless of how they're collated and how they're presented. But you need to have all of the information, and if all you're told is from one side of an argument, you know, snow, bears, gangsters, vodka, horse and cart, if that's what you're told Russia is, and you're not told anything else and you don't bother to research, then that's what you're going to think it is. And I did. And that's why I'm doing this channel, because I came here and went, oh my God, it is just nothing like. It's far more technologically advanced than I was ever expecting. The people are nothing like I was expecting. They're very warm, they're very patriotic, they're very family orientated. They're incredibly helpful, incredibly friendly when you start talking to them. Nothing like I was expecting. But equally, you can see in every single Russian, you can see the hardship that this country has gone through. These people know what hard times are, with no question, no question. You know, and if the UK thinks that they could go to war with this country, they are absolutely delusional. I'm telling you that now, because I've seen Russians and I've seen our UK, you know, and our people, and we're not even in the same league. We have no comprehension of hardship like Russians have, and these people are tough. They're a tough breed. They've had to be, and the West is hell bent on making everybody soft and weak, which is great if you want to control them. Ain't a lot of good for fighting. So I've put my drink on the ground full of ice, and it's leaked. Well, it hasn't leaked water, but it's obviously condensated all over the tiles. So now I've got a little swimming pool indoors now. Wife will be pleased. People are rising against them and policies, but it's not the majority. But we will win. Yeah. Look, the truth will out. You know, as long as people keep questioning, that's the most important thing. Question everything. Don't believe what you're just told by anybody. You know, especially me. God almighty, why would you believe me? I'm just a bloke that's left the UK and come to live in Russia. You know, what do I know? I'm just some guy on YouTube. But question everything, challenge everything. You know, and I don't mean run up to the police every time you see them and challenge anything that they say, but ask a question. You know, whatever it is. You know, anything you're told, don't take it as gospel. Take it as it needs to be asked and it needs to be questioned. That's the only way you're ever going to get on in the world. Otherwise, you're just going to be controlled. You know, you have to ask questions. If you don't ask questions, you're just controlled. Did you have a good trip in England? Yeah. I mean, I saw friends, I saw family. So from that aspect, it was brilliant. The weather was pretty good to us, so that was brilliant. I had some good times. Went out with friends. Went out for nice meals. So certainly trip-wise, yeah, it was a good trip. But I'm glad to be back here in Russia, without a doubt. Yeah, without a doubt, I'm very happy to be back here. So yeah, let me just have a look at my list, see if I've gone over what I wanted to go over. Yeah, roads, clean, food. Yeah, quality of food here is definitely something that I missed, without a doubt. Petrol cost, God almighty, and phone cost. Oh, I put a UK SIM back into my phone. Put £30 on it. I thought that'll last a month. It lasted 2 days, so I put another £30 on it. That lasted another 2 days. So that was 60 quid in. So then I went into, this is my own fault, so then I went into the store and said, can I just buy a bolt-on package that's going to cover this, because this is insane. So I spent another £30 on a bolt-on package, which just about saw out the trip. So we were there, I think, 3.5 weeks. I spent a week, so yeah, another £30 did about 2.5 weeks. So yeah, 90 quid I spent on phone, where here I spend £6 a month, and it's unlimited everything. So that's Yeah, that was definitely noticeable. Petrol cost. Phew. Again, you know, it's not a shock to me. I was aware of the costs, but you get used to the costs here. It's as simple as that. And although Russians think that their fuel costs are high, I assume they do. You know, some have said, "Oh, fuel's gone up." I mean, I've had a look, and it's gone up about 3 rubles, I think, in 2 or 3 years, which 2 pence. But yeah, the cost of fuel in the UK is savage, absolutely savage. But that's why, you know, there's a lot of Russians driving around in V8 Land Cruisers and V8 Mercedes and V8 this and V8 that, because the cost of fuel. Please thumbs up. Yeah, thank you, Nelly. Thank you. Yeah, please thumbs up, subscribe, share. You know, if channels like this don't ever see the light of day, then nobody's ever going to see a different side of Russia. And am I going to show you everything about Russia? Nah, of course not. I'm going to show you what I see living in my region through my eyes. I'm going to show you some interesting stuff, and I'm going to show you a load of boring stuff, I'm sure. But at least it will give you a broad perspective of life in Russia, not a flowered up and edited and nicely made propaganda video. This is just a English cabbage wandering around with a camera. So I hope to bring you some stuff that will be interesting. Certainly coming up soon. But some of the videos, yeah, hey, you might look at and think, yeah, it's a bit boring. But the purpose of it is to show you everything. It's not to just show you, you know, edited highlights, shall we say. It's to show you, you know, an English guy's daily life here. So yeah, you know, please like and subscribe. Please share the videos, share the channel. It helps, and the more people that see, you know, my stuff and then link off of this to other channels, the more hopefully people can actually open their eyes a little bit and stop believing the propaganda about Russia. I watch a few people that are in Russia, and it looks amazing to live there. Yeah, yeah. I mean, what can I say? It is, you know, from my perspective, it is. You know, what do you want out of life? You know, do you want to be Jeff Bezos? I don't know. I mean, it probably looks quite nice on face value, doesn't it? Multi-million-pound yachts and houses everywhere, and too many X's in the bank that could be helping people. I don't know. Depends what you want out of life. For me, I just want to be happy. I want my family to be happy. And happiness for me isn't money orientated. Never has been. I'm not money driven. Never been money motivated. I have no respect for money. It's just there to make, you know, to help make you happy. It's not to make you happy. It's just that, you know, it's a tool. It doesn't make you happy. There's too many people that think that money's going to make them happy, and when they get it and they're still not happy, they wonder why. You've got to make yourself happy, and the way you do that is surrounding yourself with nice people, being in an environment that you're happy with, being in a home that you like, eating good quality food, having nice weather. That's how I think how you make yourself happy. Get to your happy place, and I have. So yeah. Will you be watching England play in upcoming championship? Play what, sailor? Hockey? Tiddlywinks? I'm being sarcastic. I know you mean football. I'm sure you mean football. Don't mean rugby, do you? Either way, rugby or football, I couldn't give a tiny rat's ass. I have zero interest. Zero interest in football or anything else, because again, it's a great way to control the masses. Get them looking over here whilst this is going on over here. Yeah, I probably should have a little tinfoil hat, shouldn't I? But no, I've got no interest in football. I don't like the whole cult-like following that it has. If it was just taken for what it is, a bit of fun at a weekend, fine. But too many people base their lives on it, and that I think is dangerous. And anything like that, I think, is troublesome. So I don't like the cultish nature around football. So I have no interest in it. You know, you get 100,000 people at a football game, there's going to be a lot of fighting. You get 100,000 people at a motorsport event like BSB or World Superbikes, won't be any fighting. Everybody's too busy hugging each other. And that's the difference. So for me, motorsport, I've no interest in football. Yeah, Canada gas prices are high. Yeah, as long as you have what you need in life. Yeah, that's it. You've just got to work out what you need. I think if your main focus is being rich, you're never going to be happy, because that shouldn't be your focus. It should be a means to an end. It should be a tool for happiness, but it isn't going to make you happy just having a massive bank balance. It might do on the surface, it might do temporarily, but it's never going to set your mind, is it? What else? I think that's about it. I think I've gone through what I wanted to chat about. I've got dogs on pedestrian crossings written down. So the reason for that, and this is probably boring, but I just think it's hilarious. There are some stray dogs in our village. It's not an uncommon thing. They're all perfectly healthy. People feed them. You know, hey, in the UK, it's different, blah, blah. Russia's a big country, you've got to remember. But anyhow, they're quite smart. They use pedestrian crossings here, and I'd forgotten that when went to the UK, and coming back here, and today, yeah, they just treat a pedestrian crossing the same as a person does. You know, if they want to get across the road, they'll go specifically to the pedestrian crossing. They'll stop and they'll look and they'll wait for the traffic to stop, and then they'll cross. And in some cases, they'll cross halfway if the traffic's still moving, and they'll wait for it to stop and then carry on. It's just really cool. They've just obviously watched people learn, yeah, it's just really funny to see a dog just walk up the pedestrian crossing and sit there waiting for the traffic to finish and then trot across. So it's a silly thing. I know it might be really boring, but it is funny. It makes me laugh. Yeah, it is Fireflux. It is funny. When you see them doing it, it's cool. Yum. A few cherries went into that glass. Yum. Straight out the garden. Hey, look, guys, that's about it. I think we'll call it a wrap. I've done a few lives, and I feel like I haven't put much content onto the channel recently that's good quality. I think is probably how I feel. I don't know what you guys think. So I want to get something a bit more substantial on there now. Obviously, it's surprising how the UK videos weren't. I'll tell you, the biggest one that surprised me was the King Charles video. I was one of the few people there that probably saw that, and probably one of the only people that managed to post it to YouTube. I think it was the day that Sunak had actually asked the King to hold a general election. I think that was the day. So yeah, sure, the video quality wasn't great, but you know, you kind of get what you get. But I thought that would be, you know, quite a good video, but didn't do very well at all. So that surprised me. So I'd be interested to hear what people want to see, what they want to hear. I am definitely going to be looking to do some videos this week, over the weekend. Like I say, I want to get down to a Napa, see if I can film the dolphins. I want to do some video parts. It's probably a 4 or maybe a 5-part video of our champagne. I've got it all in my head. I've just got to action it. So there's some things I want to get done and show you a bit more around my neighbourhood. Show you some more eclectic houses, I suppose, because every house around here is different. And just show you some more interesting things, I think, rather than just the main mundane stuff. So hopefully I can get some more stuff on the channel that's a bit better quality. And I'm always happy to go live. And if people have questions, send them to me in Telegram. If there's something you specifically want to see, if you want something videoed, you want to see something, you have a specific question, please ask. And I'll carry on doing what I'm doing until people don't watch it anymore, I guess. So, as always, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and share. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. See ya.